God is just always twisting and turning the roads on us. So, and I don't think it's because he's testing us or because he wants to see what we're going to do. I think he knows that in our heart of hearts, we love adventure.
Welcome to the Spirit-Centered Business Podcast, where we blend the spiritual with the practical for supernatural results. Now, here is your host, Bralynn Newby.
Hello there. Welcome to Spirit-Centered Business. I'm so excited to have Maryann Ehmann back on with me. She hasn't been on the show for 4 years. She was on episode number 8 because she was coaching me way back in the day when I first started the podcast. And then I had her on again about a year later or so. It was episodes 48 and 49, I think. But she told some amazing stories of how she accidentally made 6 figures in a year, over $100,000.
Actually, it was in 3 months.
Within 3 months.
3 or 4 months.
That's right. That's right. I have to go back and listen to it myself. Oh my gosh. So Maryann is just full of miracles, and I love what she's doing now, co-creating, which you guys know, my audience knows, I'm all about co-creating those miracles and walking out destiny and those kinds of things. So Maryann, you have some stories to share with us. You have some overcoming to share, and I just want to give you the floor to take it away, be Holy Spirit led. And if we end up in a different place than we thought we were, that's fine. It's all good.
Absolutely. Yes. I know. God is just always twisting and turning the roads on us. So, and I don't think it's because he's testing us or because he wants to see what we're going to do. I think he knows that in our heart of hearts, we love adventure.
Oh, we do. I know I do. Excellent. Right? Yep, absolutely.
We love adventure. Yeah. So you and I were talking, I don't even know where to start, but I think I want to start in talking about a story where God's hand was so precious. It's my IRS story.
Okay.
IRS story. So,
I guess I'm going to put on my seatbelt for an IRS story. That sounds like a heavy one.
Yeah, I mean, so. Back in 2020, and this is going back to 2020, we decided to buy a house. We had been living in an apartment for quite a long time, 5 years in Scottsdale. And during that time, or the beginning of that time, my husband had brain cancer, melanoma in his brain. And 5 years later, about 5 years later, he was still dealing with the ramifications, the side effects of treatments, the immunotherapy treatments. The cancer was eradicated, but the treatments really did a number on his body. And so all that time, basically, I was supporting us as well as him. And that was a whole feat. And maybe we talked about it back then, but love was my power. Love was my superpower. Mm-hmm. So, and I had written a book a long time ago on the favor of God. So between love and favor, I was that was my go-to whenever I got into any kind of trouble. Or whenever I had a dream or something big I had to do that it felt daunting. And so I just want to put a plug in there for love and favor, supernatural love and supernatural favor as being our go-tos, primary foundational, the force within for everything that we're going to do. And so that was part of my foundation. When he had the cancer, though, I lost all that. It was almost like it was too overwhelming. I was a mindset queen, couldn't mindset my way out of a paper bag, and had the worst meltdown of my life. And that's when the Lord said to me, "Get back to love, Maryann." That's how I knew that was my solution to financial woes and inadequacy and healing and energy levels was to get back to love. Okay. So that's what I did. And that's a whole nother story. Maybe we could talk about that some other time, or maybe that's on the prior podcast. I don't remember.
I know. I think we did talk about it before. So yeah.
Yeah. So going forward now, it's time for us to move. But my consideration was my husband's health. So the Lord said, what if this is the easiest, smoothest, most enjoyable move ever? And with that, I went to my husband. I said, what if this is the easiest, smoothest, most enjoyable move ever? And he goes, okay. Right. And I always think he never said, how's that going to happen? How can you control that? You know how many things happen. You know how hard moving is. We have vast experience with that. But when the Lord says, how about if it's the easiest, smoothest, most enjoyable move ever? And that's kind of been my signature for everything in life. What if it could be the easiest, smoothest, most enjoyable, whatever, right?
I love
And that's certainly in line with Jesus saying, my yoke is easy and my burden is light, right? So I'm going with that. Anyway, we move forward, and it turns out that the whole finding a house was very involved, qualifying, very involved, all the paperwork, and it was COVID, very involved. And on top of it, homes were flying off the shelf. Inventory was decreasing and home prices were rising, right? So it was almost like time is of the essence. But with easiest, smoothest, most enjoyable ever, there was no reason to get all upset because you know that the perfect house is going to be there for you no matter what's going on. And you know that even though we didn't have the money for a house at the beginning of the year, we did by the time we bought the house within the year, you know, and money came in from wild and crazy places again. I love that. Don't you love when money?
I love that.
Yeah.
Was that the same year? That was the 100,000 in 3 months?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's part of the reason why we could buy the house, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So then with that going on and having that assurance, we're 5 days away from closing. And this house was on the water. We live in Arizona. Let that sink in, right? Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah. We found a lovely home, perfect size for us on the water. I love it. I love this house. I love looking out and seeing the water. I love that. Well, 5 days before closing, we get a call from the IRS. We get a call from the title company. We can't do this because there is a lien on your credit report from the IRS. And we're like, what? That was never supposed to be there. It was supposed to be taken off years ago, right? We were in an audit when Jean was going through cancer. So they put a lien on it because we weren't responding because of the cancer. Got it all taken care of. They were supposed to take the lien off. Everything was good. And I won the audit. Nevertheless, here we are. So I'm like, oh, easy peasy. You know, I'm just going to talk to this IRS agent and we'll get this cleared up in no time. Easy peasy. Her name was Cynthia.
Oh.
Cynthia. Hi, this is Maryann Ehmann. I just got a notice from you and the title company, blah, blah, blah. She goes, yes, that was me. I put that on there. I said, well, this is the situation, you know? And I explained to her. She goes, well, I'm aware of all that, but I still am holding my ground. Now, I'm thinking at this point, basically, now this sounds audacious, but I did have this belief. Everybody loves me. Everybody wants to help me. Everybody is here in this whole process because they love serving and they love to serve me. Now, this is an unusual frame of mind for me, all right? But this is what I was getting from the Lord and I was sticking to it. That's right. So obviously, Cynthia is here to help me. Now, Cynthia doesn't seem to know this. Cynthia seems to have a different idea about this. Right? So I'm like, Cynthia, let me explain one more time. Cynthia doesn't care. Absolutely does not care. So then I'm secretly inside and praying to the Lord going, this isn't working. Cynthia is not on my side. Cynthia doesn't care, right? I need Cynthia to care. So then all of a sudden I say to Cynthia, Cynthia, I know you love helping people. I know you're in this IRS office and you face contention all the time, but I know that in your heart of hearts, you're somebody who wants to help people. And I believe you actually want to help me somehow. So maybe there's a way we can brainstorm this. Can we put our heads together and come up with some kind of solution that's going to work for us both? That alone, Cynthia goes, well, I could do this and I could do that, but even if I did, it's not going to be released. This lien is not going to be released for 5 days. It'll take weeks. I go, all right. So, all right, let's assume it could be. All right, what can we do? We put our head together, and then she says to me, don't tell anyone I'm doing this.
Crazy.
I'm like, okay. And I know everybody wants to know, what did she say? What did she say? And the truth of the matter doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Because when the favor of God is involved, when you are aligned with it, and you treat people as if they are valuable, and I always say, love believes the best. So I needed to believe the best about Cynthia, and I needed to express that. It wasn't a manipulation, it's a truth. It's a truth. So I was speaking to the love in Cynthia, and the two of us were connecting at that very deep, supernatural, spiritual level, right? I don't even know what her faith is, but we were connecting at that level. So Cynthia says to me, what about if we do this? And she gives me this thing that I can do, that she can do. And then in order to get it done within 5 days, Cynthia says to me, what if I call your title agent and I tell her that this has all been approved?
Wow.
I said, you would do that? She goes, yes, I'll do that. And I said, let me call my title agent to make sure that that's going to be okay with her, right? Because it's not going to be documented yet, right? Mm-hmm. So I call her and the lady says, yes, I'll accept that. I'll accept that. So Cynthia calls the title agent, the two of them talk and take care of it apart from me.
Yay, God. Wow.
The next day I write her an email after this happens. And I said, thank you so much. You have no idea how you just blessed my life in a million pieces. She writes me back and she says, thank you for making my day.
Oh. Wow.
Right? Oh, so that's another thing that I always say about favor. Favor knows no bounds. Favor is not limited by institutions, organizations, policies, standards of, government, nothing. Favor overrides all of it. And I think if we are ever to live our life with greater and greater joy, it would be knowing the power of favor in our lives and camp on it. This is a gift. We don't earn it. It's a gift. We don't want to waste any gifts that God has given to us, Mm-hmm. So to me, I am so grateful for the favor of God and how it shows up, but we have to pay attention. We really have to pay attention because there's favor all the time operating, and we might just let it blip over our lives like we talk about stones on water, skipping stones on water, when really let's take the time to see and to notice where favor is working in our lives, and then let's magnify it. Let's magnify it with the Lord. So we moved into the house. Everything was great. One other thing about that is I wanted new flooring. All right, I know these are first world problems. I wanted new flooring. The people that came in to do the flooring did a terrible job.
Oh, no.
And they had to redo it again and again and again.
3 times? Are you kidding me?
Yes. So on the third time, and kept getting better, but it still wasn't perfect. It wasn't not even perfect, close to perfect. It had too much lippage. So on the third time, because I was doing things, my husband came out to check on the work. They said they fixed it. He comes out and they say to him, where's your wife? And he said, well, she's home there's a lot of stuff she's doing. I'm still working, right? And they go, well, we want her because we want to make sure she's pleased.
Oh.
So do you remember when I was saying that everybody here loves to please me?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it sounds so selfish in the kingdom of God. You know what I'm saying? But when we feel so taken care of, how do we treat others? We have hearts of gold because we have the Lord. We have his heart. So when we're feeling well cared for, loved and favored, and other people feel good about helping us, right? I think that's a lot of what the kingdom is about.
Mm-hmm.
Am I off track here? But
No,
right?
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So that was another piece of evidence about that. We move into the house, and I remember the very first morning looking out on the water, and we're sitting there, and I'm just like basking. I cannot even believe all this whirlwind activity. And then now here I am sitting in this very peaceful, quiet, tranquil environment. And while I'm enjoying it, this little like gnat around my head has a voice. And this voice says, yeah, but what if you lose it? What if you lose it? You did a great job of getting yourself in here. Like it's all mine, right? All my work. You did a great job getting it all here. Now it's going to be up to you to keep it.
Oh, wow.
And with that little voice, that gnat, it had its way with me. And I started to go down this deep, dark road of worry, pressure. Oh my gosh, I got to keep this up. Well, I'm paying for the same amount of money pretty much in an apartment as I was in a house, which was amazing because we only got a 2.5 point interest, right? Nevertheless, it's the fear of loss. That's what I realized, that throughout my life, there's this underlying thing from abandonment issues as a kid, that the fear of loss could get triggered. And I would deal with it, but I thought I was over it. You know how you think you're over stuff? And how many times do I have to address that thing? Or how many times I have to deal with that thing? Well, here I am in a new environment with a new set of circumstances, and bam, it comes back. So I started like, oh, I got to watch my frequency and my vibration levels, right? I got to watch my thoughts and my mindset. Oh, I got to stay really close to the Lord. Oh, and I start rummaging through all the stuff that I need to do in order to get to a different space. And again, my mindset completely shifts into overwhelm.
And isn't that funny how the enemy would tell you it's all on you? You have to
all on you.
Yeah.
And I think that is so common. I can't tell you how many clients I work with that have that underlying message. It's subtle, but man, is it a powerful downward pull, right?
It is. I mean, and you and I both work with, A personalities who are go-getters. So yeah, it's there. I mean, in me too, Yeah.
It's totally there. It's
Yeah.
totally there. And then, to relax or whatever, it feels irresponsible sometimes, so we battle that as well.
Yeah.
Right? If I'm not working my butt off, I'm being irresponsible. If I'm not, praying on my knees and seeking God, I'm irresponsible. I'm not, even when you know what the true source is. So it can hit you in all kinds of ways. And I will tell you, the only thing that got me out of it was leaning on the edge of burnout, and seeing and getting the revelation that you have this false belief, Maryann, that it's all on you. And I started doing more, what do we call contemplative, meditative kinds of practices, right? I mean, I had the perfect environment to do that in. And just seeking God, and I was like, I don't want to hear anything but you. I don't want to see anything but you. I don't want to do anything but you, and getting to that place of all just the peace. I bought so many books on meditation and contemplation with the Lord. There was one practice that I did that I really enjoyed, and it was simple, and it was just breathing in, Yahweh, Yahweh.
Mm.
And I would just do that for like 5 minutes, breathe, saying the Yahweh. That's all, and this absolute supernatural peace coming upon me, so that I could actually see what's true, what's really going on here. And yes, I did the mindset work. What are the lies I'm believing? And that was a lie. It's all on you.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be done with this once and for all. So it was the belief that somehow or another, look at me, I did all of this. I created all this income and I did all these things and people love me. And right?
Yeah.
It's all on you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You got to keep all that up, Maryann.
Right. Now it's spinning the plates and you got to keep it going.
Exactly. So it was about getting delivered from that. It was about really denouncing the lie and surrendering it and walking in the truth and letting myself just be alone with the Lord and let him speak to me in however he wanted to speak to me,
Mm-hmm.
and taking the pressure off, just taking the pressure off.
And isn't it true? That's almost like we can never understand why the Israelites were seeing miracle after miracle after miracle, and yet they kept complaining. So you saw miracle after miracle, and yet you were believing, oh, it's all on me. I've got to do this. I've got to work. It's all, performance based and all of that.
Well, and I don't know if you and I ever talked about this before, but I had sought the Lord a long time ago about this. So this was coming back to me, this revelation. And because I would say to him exactly what you're saying about the Israelites, And I said, what was it about them that kept going back to that place of feeling abandoned, that it's all on them and that you're not delivering, How many more miracles did they need?
I know we can get so judgmental about them.
Right?
I know.
And the Lord said to me something that was going around in Christian circles for a long time, and it's still very valid, and they had an orphan spirit. So I said, why do they have an orphan spirit, Lord? Right? And he said, for 400 years. And he gave me some new insights on this recently. But for 400 years, they were living under the protection and provision of the Egyptians.
Right.
Okay? But eventually that had a price. For a long time, it was a miracle. For a long time, it was favor. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, they became dependent, and the Israelites became fearful of their multiplication, right? So they were not living as orphans per se all that time, but toward the end of that time, when it started getting really harsh, they had not actually had the sense of God as their father, as their provision, right? So it was all about how hard they could work. That was the backbreaking work that they were doing to just earn their housing and their keep, right? So you would think that now they have this easy way. I'm going to provide food for you. I'm going to provide so your clothes don't ever get threadbare and your shoes. I'm providing it all. And I'm giving you provision. Their minds could not almost register that. And I think that's what happens. Like for any of us that have come from abandonment, for any of us who have not had people in our lives who were there for us, and we've had to work very hard for everything, we forget. And it's hard for us to believe that we have a God that is so willing to provide for every little thing for us and for big things. We're not used to it. Our brains are trained to think this way, to do it all ourselves, So I think that kicked in. And it's almost like it had to kick in because it was still there. It's still there. Obviously, every time this stuff happens, and we get triggered, it's information. It's just information. It's just feedback of, okay, this is something that I need to bring before the Lord. All right, bring it on. Let's deal with that. Because what the Lord is saying is that I want in every single circumstance, I want every single lie exposed so you can flow and be free and soar in my promises. And I want nothing holding you back. Nothing, And so I've embraced that. To me, I'm like, okay. So now when I get triggered or I go down that deep, it doesn't happen. I'm not there long because I know that this is the next level. This is the next layer. And if I got to do this work till I'm 100, I'm okay with that, So, okay. All right. Because every time it happens, there's more provision, there's more freedom, there's more miracles, So, yeah.
So good. So good. Wow. Really, really cool. So yeah, we need to probably land the plane for this one, but I want people to be able to get a hold of you. So I know that they can go to your website, maryannehmann.com.
Yes,
Correct?
you can.
And what will they find there? And if you've got another program on another website, let us know about that one. And everything will be in the show notes. So if you can't coordinate it, that's fine.
Hang on one second, because they can find actually, hang on one second. Let me just, I was going to give the link and maybe we could put it in the show notes.
Yeah,
but the link for co-creating with God. I have done an audio series because co-creating with God, like you co-creating with God, it's been this huge revelation. I like the with part. And the with is instead of you doing it, you're all on your own and you got to do it all on your own. I like the word with.
That's right, exactly.
That's bigger than the other words in it with, So I discovered about what does it look like to co-create with God? Yes, it is partnership, but what does that even mean? And what does it even look like? And what are some of the obstacles that we have, especially co-creating cash? So I put together a series, an audio series, and it's something that people can listen to for 10, 15 minutes a day, and or they can binge listen, and there's transcripts with it. I don't actually have the website for it right now because my VA gave me the wrong one just now. So
no worries, it'll be in the show notes.
Yes,
we'll put it in there. So do check the link wherever you're listening to or watching the podcast. Check the link in the show notes, or that will be in there. What is the name of the audio series? Is it Co-Creating with God?
Yes, Co-Creating with God audio series.
Audio series. Okay, yes, definitely.
Now, and I'm doing a full-blown 10-week course that I have participants in right now, but that's not open right now. It's just, it will be open at a later time.
Yeah, but check back on your website then to see if there's open enrollment to join the course live.
Yeah, or people can just get a hold of me and Maryann at maryannehmann.com, and I can put them on a wait list too, right?
Oh, beautiful.
So, but the best way to find out more about me and to know what I'm doing is on Facebook.
Okay.
Yes. And I have a free Maryann Ehmann, under my name, Maryann Ehmann on Facebook, that's all. But I have a free group called the Coalition of Queens. Okay, that's a Facebook group called the Coalition of Queens. And if they want more intimate information about what I'm doing, and where I focus in on love and favor, all right, and co-creation, I would have them join the Coalition of Queens group. Okay.
Beautiful.
So there are several ways that they can actually hunt me down and right. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So in the next segment, we're going to dive deeper. We have a couple more stories of God's miracles, of how you co-created some miracles with him. And then we're going to dive a little bit more into co-creating with God, the program. Right?
Okay, sure.
Okay. All right. So audience, be sure to join next week. And we so appreciate you sharing, liking, subscribing, and clicking the button so you get notifications and you don't miss anything, because this is so important to understand that we're not slaves. We're not slaves. We are co-creators. He created us to be in union with him and to create what he wants us to create on the earth. And I'll leave it at that. All right, you guys, until next time, stay spirit-centered. Peace out. Hey there, SCB peeps. I want to give a huge shout out and deep appreciation and thanks to Candace Benton. She has become a super sponsor for the Spirit Centered Business Show. So I would appreciate you helping me in sending blessings and abundance back to her. Thank you so much, Candace, and you are well loved.
Thank you for listening to Spirit Centered Business with Bralynn Newby. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. The next stage of doing business by being spirit-centered is coming together in collaboration, working with spiritual principles, and knowing our destiny. Join our tribe at spiritcenteredbusiness.com, and we'll catch you on the next broadcast. Peace out.